Hello again everybody, and welcome back to another one of my little videos here. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video, so I figured I'd just record another update mod talk type video, just to keep the channel alive, you know. So the first and most important thing I think is that the Character Crusade guys have announced that Season 3 won't be starting until November. That's a couple months from now. So that's a long time to wait to keep Araelas on the shelf here. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do as soon as I get the mods and stuff figured out, and all tested and everything for his profile, I'm going to go ahead and just start that on my own and do my own story with it. And then I can create a new character for Unbound Season 3. So that is kind of the main big announcement that I wanted to make. The other mods that I still need to test are one with nature, which allows you to kind of control and set the aggression on certain predator type animals. I think for certain story elements and gameplay elements, that would make a lot of sense for a druid archer type character like Araelas. The other one, let's see, another one, not the other one, but another one is Moonlight Tales. That's one that I've used a lot in the past, and I love that werewolf mod. It's the werewolf mod, and it's awesome. Thinking Araelas might be a werewolf. I'm not sure how that's going to fit into the story at all yet, but it's going to happen. The other one is wearable lanterns. It's become abundantly clear to me with the lighting overhauls that I'm running, at least in more of the vanilla areas, the need for a hands-free lighting solution that does not give away my position. Araelas is a sneaky character, casting candlelight like Alucel would often. Is not silent, so it gives away his position. He also uses a two-handed weapon in his bow, and he uses that exclusively. You won't see him wielding anything else except for alteration druid type magic. So he doesn't really have a free hand to carry a torch in like Alucel did, because he was a one-handed swordsman. So yeah, I did mention that Araelas is going to be a druid archer. I called Alucel the alteration swordsman. That was my super creative name for him. Very descriptive, if not creative. Araelas is going to be a druid archer. I don't know how well archery works into official druid character concepts through Dungeons and Dragons rule sets, but this is Skyrim. It's my game. I can do what I want. So a lot of inspiration I'm taking from the definition of the druid class from Dungeons and Dragons. So a lot of his abilities will be stemming from that, as well as a lot of his motivations regarding thoughts on undead and his relationship with nature. So yeah, what else? I think that's about it. Oh yeah, I'm also really thinking about implementing Anais Ion's Thief Skills Rebalance optional mod that comes with Ordinator. Just because already with this test character, I'm able to sneak around, pretty much doing sneak attack damage from range, completely untouchable at will, whenever I want, all the time. The two options I have for dealing with that are to cap the sneak level at 50, or something around there. The problem is there are a lot of perks in this sneak tree that I want access to. Things that like, well, not like this one, but I can't think of a specific example at this point. But things like backstab, things that will make sure that, yeah, stuff like this, which you don't get until level 80. Because I don't want to be overly sneaky, I don't want to be undetectable all the time. I need to make sure that if I am performing a sneak attack on an enemy, that it takes him down right away. That's going to be important for the tactics of this character. His initial sneak attack is going to be the only one that he's able to get off without being detected. So if he's taking on a group of dangerous enemies, including mages and other archers, he needs to be able to take out the biggest threat first and foremost before he deals with the rest of the rabble in an undetected state, or I'm sorry, in a detected state. Playstyle is really important for my character concepts. That's why they tend not to use multiple types of weapons unless that's part of their playstyle. For this character type, I'm going to be focusing on archery, and I would kind of like to showcase a lot of the cool things you can do with archery in the Ordinator perk overhaul without kind of having sneak and alchemy take over the show, so to speak. So you'll see a lot of kind of short-ranged bow work, a lot of TK dodging, a lot of bow bashing. Wing strike is very important for this character. And I think that'll be a lot more entertaining than watching yet another sneaky archer just sneak through an entire dungeon, never getting detected, and just one-shotting enemies at any difficulty level. This is going to be a lot more exciting. It's going to be a lot more stressful for me. And it's probably going to cause me to die a lot more often than I would otherwise. But yeah, so an Ision's Thief Skills rebalance for Ordinator. It makes you a lot harder to stay undetected as you get closer to enemies, and it also makes it a lot harder to stay undetected after you've done a sneak attack. Enemies will chase you around a lot more. Detection has more to do with light and line of sight than it does with sneak skill itself. So that's interesting. I most definitely will probably, well, right now I'm leaning heavily toward going the route of the rebalance than I am capping the sneak tree and kind of nerfing my available options there as far as dealing with large groups of enemies. I think that's it for Araelas announcements. I can move on to Bruma now, I think. This whole time I've been, since my last video anyway, I've been playtesting Bruma. Partly because I wanted to experience it myself, and but mostly because I want to see if it's video ready. And I think that it is. It's not perfect. It has some issues. Biggest issues that I've seen are crash to desktop in certain cave interiors, in specific spots in those, which is weird. A lot of those are just vanilla assets. So I'm not sure what's going on there. It just, there wasn't any like frame dipping or anything. I was at a solid 60. I would go around a corner, go into the specific area, frame rate stays steady at 60, and then all of a sudden I'm just looking at my desktop. I was able to get around it by like staring at the floor or the wall and kind of inching around the area that was giving me trouble. And then once I was past it, I was free and clear. That happened twice in two different cave interiors. I haven't had it once at all on the exterior. I did recently upgrade my RAM to 32 gigabytes from 16, and that seems to have mitigated exterior crash to desktop instances quite a bit. I haven't had a single exterior crash to desktop since I've upgraded, so And as you can see, my frame rate is not staying at a solid 60. The Bruma area is a lot harder on my GPU than Skyrim is. And I think it's because of the city of Bruma itself. It's an open city like Ravenrock is in Solstheim, but it's much more dense in both NPCs and structures, buildings and stuff. It's more like a Windhelm or Riften. I think even bigger than those, but it's wide open and it's not behind a load screen, which I think would have helped. I probably would have preferred a load screen, honestly. But as it is, it's bearable. It drops down to about 40 at the most if I'm standing like way up north toward like Cloud Ruler Temple and looking down on Bruma. I get down to about 40. I haven't had any stability issues. I haven't had any crashes or anything. I also haven't had any dragons or anything flying around, which I don't think there are dragons in Cyrodiil. At least not yet. So that's good. Another issue I'm having is with low-cut armor pieces. As you can see, there is no UNP conversion, no UNP body slide conversion for the Bruma armors for women. So they're vanilla bodies. And I don't know if it's an issue with UNP or TCM, Total Character Makeover, but almost everybody has a neck seam. It's more prominent on the women. They also have wrist seams for shirts that don't cover the wrists or people who aren't wearing gloves. But I was pleased to see that TCM, Total Character Makeover, is actually doing its job on the faces. They look really good.
Looking for my husband Ralgard? He's probably out hunting or something.
She's even got a neck seam on a fairly covered up outfit. And it's not just a woman thing either. It's not just a female NPC issue, because this guy has a neck seam as well. So it might be Total Character Makeover.
Hello.
Giving me trouble there. I don't know if you can see the... Yeah, you can't see the wrist seam on him though. So that's troubling. It's not game breaking. It's a little distracting. I can live with it. I did actually try to create a compatibility mod to reshape the bodies on some of these the Bruma outfits and armors. I managed to convert one dress. It took me like 4 hours. I managed to convert one outfit to UNP. It looked terrible. So a 3D artist, I am not. And I couldn't even get the replacement mod that I made for it to work. For whatever reason, the meshes just aren't being replaced. I think it has something to do with the fact that Bruma stores all of its assets in BSAs. So that might add an added barrier to a replacement mod for meshes and stuff. But I don't know. This MIM patch seems to be working fine. And I think Skyrim itself uses BSAs for its assets, and mesh replacement mods and other replacement mods seem to work fine for that. So I don't know. Maybe it's just something I'm doing wrong. In any case, the body slide stuff was not my cup of tea. I hated every second of it, pretty much. So I don't know if that's a project that I'm going to take on. I'm thinking probably not. So I'm just going to deal with the neck seams and the vanilla bodies, I think, for the time that I spend in Bruma. Other than that, I think it's usable. I think for my next character after Araelas, I might be running an Imperial character who focuses on block and heavy armor and a big ol' heavy one-handed mace. And I think it would be cool for him to start here and maybe be like an apprentice of, what's that guy's name? The guard captain here. What's his name? Adius Vilius. Yeah. I think that would work well into his dialogue and the quests that he gives you. And then I have the option of going north to Skyrim after that and joining the Imperial Legion and maybe becoming Dragonborn. But first things first, I'm focused on Araelas, which is Probably not going to be an Unbound character this time around, just because of the time that we would have to wait for that to come around. But yeah, I think that's it. That covers my thoughts on Bruma. That covers my plans for what to do with Araelas. I'm thinking maybe in the next week or something. I just have to finish playtesting Bruma, just for the experience there, and playtesting those other mods that I mentioned, and making sure that they play well with all the other mods that I have installed through the Tuco guide. I don't foresee any issues with any of those. I think those should all work just fine, especially now that I have my bash patch working the way it should be. So yeah, just some more playtesting, playtesting Bruma, playtesting the mods. I also have Falskar installed. I wanted to play that, so I might play through that. I don't think it's as much content as Bruma is, so that shouldn't take me as long. But from there, I'm just working on Araelas's MO2, Mod Organizer 2 profile, getting his mods set up just the way I want. I'll be using Unbound, and he's not going to be Dragonborn, so I got to make sure I get the settings right for that so that he starts in the right place. And just to see if I can flesh out some more of his story elements and stuff like that. I have some ideas. I just need to do some more playtesting to make sure I can get everything to work and flesh it out a little bit more. I'm hoping Skyrim, the game itself, will give me some more fuel to burn that fire when I start doing it. I'm excited to start, actually. I'm really excited to give LAL Test a proper Araelas name, kind of refine the way he looks a little bit, practice on his playstyle a little more. It's been a while since I've played an archery character, so I've been a little rusty. It's been an adventure, figuring out the launch angles and action of the arrow once it leaves your bow, if you're moving left or right, stuff like that. But I'm getting better, and I'm kind of excited to share this character concept with you. So for my next video, I might actually record the next dungeon clear I do in Bruma, if I can get it not to crash in a cave interior or something. That also reminds me, I wanted to mention that I have downloaded a couple of video editing tools, so you don't have to bear with my raw footage anymore and me rambling on and on. I can cut out some dead spots and some redundancies as I'm rambling here. Maybe cut out some travel time, maybe do some creative editing as far as creating more of a cinematic feel for the story and things like that. So I'm excited about that. Nothing too fancy there, just pretty much just scene edits and stuff like that, cuts and splices. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I hit all the bullet points I wanted to there. So yeah, super excited. Next time I see you, we'll either be clearing a Bruma dungeon with LAL Test, or I will be introducing Araelas properly, which is an exciting prospect. Yeah, so until then, take it easy, and I will see you next time.